Hello, friends. Picture this, a grand palace shimmering under the night sky, filled with nervous politicians, guarded by a handful of exhausted soldiers and cadets. Outside, the city rumbles with revolution. The Winter Palace, the last symbol of the Provisional Government, is about to fall. But here's the funny thing. For one of the most famous moments in revolutionary history, the storming of the Winter Palace wasn't quite as stormy as you might think. By the evening of October 25th, 1917, the Bolsheviks had taken over most of Petrograd. Railways, post offices, telegraph lines, banks, everything was under their control. The only thing left standing was the Winter Palace, where the Provisional Government's ministers were desperately trying to figure out what to do. And where was Kerensky, the head of the government? Nowhere to be found. He had fled, supposedly in an American embassy car, hoping to find troops who were still loyal to him. Spoiler, he wasn't going to find many. Inside the palace, the mood was tense. The ministers were waiting for reinforcements, but none were coming. The troops stationed there were tired, hungry, and demoralized. Some had simply walked away, unwilling to risk their lives for a government that seemed destined to fall. Finally, the big moment arrived. The Red Guards, revolutionary sailors, and soldiers surrounded the palace. The Bolsheviks even brought in the cruiser Aurora, stationed on the Neva River, which fired a few blank shots, mainly for dramatic effect. And then, nothing happened. For hours, the Bolsheviks hesitated. The whole thing was so disorganized that some of the revolutionaries got lost inside the palace. Yes, really. Others spent time fumbling with locked doors, unsure how to break in. It was less of a glorious battle and more of a clumsy scavenger hunt. Eventually, after some random gunfire, the Red Guards managed to break through. The ministers inside put up almost no resistance. In fact, many of them were so disillusioned they barely fought back. One by one, they were rounded up and arrested. And just like that, the Provisional Government was over. The Bolsheviks had seized power with almost laughable ease. But here's the fascinating part. This relatively minor skirmish would go down in history as a glorious revolution. The Bolsheviks skillfully turned it into a grand legend. It became a symbol of the people's victory over tyranny, even though there were fewer casualties from fighting than there were from revolutionaries tripping over the palace furniture. Lenin declared victory, and Russia now had a new government, one that promised peace, land, and bread. The Bolsheviks were in charge, and they were determined to reshape Russia from the ground up. But while they were busy celebrating, the country was still at war. The Bolsheviks now faced an even bigger challenge, ending the devastating conflict with Germany. Lenin had promised peace, but making peace wouldn't come cheap. The Germans weren't going to let Russia walk away without a price. And that, my friends, is where we get the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk, one of the most painful deals in Russian history. But that's a story for next time.